For the first ornament, I'm going to be using these mini cutting boards that I got right now at Hobby Lobby in the fall section. And just so you know, the fall stuff is 40% off. And I started by painting it milk chocolate, and I wanted the entire thing to be painted brown, so I just squirted it out on there and went to town. Now these cutting boards actually have a beautiful grain, but it's striped, and for this project I didn't want it to look like the reindeer had a bunch of stripes all over its face. So after finishing painting the entire thing, I used this little sponge stamper that I had and used a darker color called traditional burnt sienna to go around just the rectangular part to add a little value to the side of the face. It's a little hard for my camera to pick up the difference in color, so I'm going to hold the cutting board up so you can see the gradient really well. Just a nice little value around the outside. Now it's time to work on the nose. I thought about using a wooden circle, but that one was obviously way too big, so I just decided to trace it on with a pencil and then paint on the inside. Now at first I was thinking I wanted to try out a new POSCA paint pen, and this POSCA paint pen is glittery and really sparkly, but I wanted to give it a base coat, so I went ahead and painted the entire nose with just my Santa Red, and then I went in with the paint pen. Now here was my problem with the paint pen. I did end up doing the entire thing with this paint pen, but it looked too pink. It didn't look red. It is advertised as a red glitter pen, but it came across as really, really pink. So even though I love the pen, I now know to use it more for pink projects than for Rudolph's bright red nose. So I do end up going over it later, but I still wanted to just test it out and see if I liked it, and I do end up changing it. I drew a cute tiny little mouth underneath the giant nose. I just thought it was really sweet to kind of have the difference in sizes, big nose, cute little mouth. And then I did two very simple little eyes with some highlights in the eye and of course little eyebrows for some expression. Next I worked on the ears, and normally I always make a template and trace everything, but I was just in the mood to wing it, so that's what I did. I just folded this brown piece of felt over, cut out kind of a pointy little ear, and I also did the same exact thing with the pink ones. I just wanted to make sure that it was the right size, trimming it up to make it, look nice and neat. And these paddles are actually quite large, so it would make a larger ornament, just so you know, but I don't think it's too big. I think there's definitely plenty of Christmas trees out there where it would be just the right size. So here I am just cutting out the cute little pink centers of the ears the same way I did the brown, and I'm just going to hot glue them together. My best friend, the hot glue gun, is so much faster, so much easier than so many things like gluing with normal glue or sewing. So after I got the ears all attached together, I then also hot glued them to the back, kind of at a little angle where the little curve of the cutting board goes down to the rectangle. And I just happen to have the perfect little pine needle branches for these. I mean, they look exactly like reindeer ears, and they have a little bit of flocking on them too, which I love. So I just again hot glued those behind the ears and those little corners of the cutting board, and they were the perfect size. I was just so happy and lucky. They also have a really nice metal stem inside of them, so they're not too floppy. They keep their shape really well. And I can't quite remember where I found these. Maybe it was Hobby Lobby or Joann's. It's one of those craft stores I always mention. Then I took this cute little plaid piece of material that I already had kind of ripped so that the edges looked a little frayed, a little bit of a rustic look, and I just made a cute little bow right in between for their head. I trimmed that up, and this is definitely where I realized that the nose was way too pink, and I didn't like how it was kind of clashing with the bow, so I did paint over it with the Santa Red. And then I used my Crayola glitter glue because I still wanted it to be sparkly. I mean, it's Rudolph, he has to have a shiny nose. So I just squeezed that out on it, and then I paint it all around with a paintbrush, just spreading out that glitter, and it gives it a nice glaze and also all that sparkle. And the last finishing step, I just had to reattach the little leather string that it comes with. I did remove it so I wouldn't get paint all over it because I am kind of a messy painter. So I just tied that back to the paddleboard. And here is the finished little reindeer. I went back and bought more because I liked it so much, so I'm definitely going to make some more for my craft show. For ornament number 2, we're doing something kind of similar to the first one, but I'm using a wood slice and my circle template to make kind of the muzzle or the snout of the reindeer. And I'm using a paint color called Sable Brown and just painting that in so it does have a different look than the rest of the wood slice. And I have all these extra berries lying around my craft room, so I thought, wouldn't that make the perfect Rudolph nose? So I just plucked that berry off. Before I glued it down, I wanted to make sure I was going to draw the mouth in the right place, so I used my tiny black POSCA pen just to do a cute little mouth, kind of like the last reindeer. After I got the mouth drawn, I just glued that little berry on top as the little reindeer's nose, and it was super cute. I also decided to add some little freckles to this one, 2 simple little eyes, and of course some cute little eyebrows. Just like the last reindeer's ears, I just made some out of felt with the brown and pink felt, and I'm going to glue them to the back of the wood slice. And again, I am so lucky. I just happen to have the perfect little reindeer antlers. These are very sparkly. They're little branches, but they are the perfect little antler for these guys. Super cute. I think I'm even maybe going to make more of these. I just have too many ideas for my craft show. I don't know how in the world I'm going to get them all done. And as one more little thing, I did want to add a cute little bow under his chin, and I'm just using jute like I always do for my string. I absolutely love jute. I don't know what it is about it. It's just a great sturdy string for any ornament. And here is the finished little ornament. I absolutely think it's so cute. Again, I do definitely want to make more. Tell me in the comments below which ornament ends up being your favorite as well. For ornament number 3, I'm doing something quite different than the last two. I'm using this thin wood slice and a map, and I chose Orlando, Florida. I do not live in Orlando, Florida. I just decided to use that because I have been there several times. I love going to Disney, and this is just going to be an ornament for myself. I have made these before at craft shows, and they do sell well, but this is just going to be for me and my Christmas tree, so that's why I picked Orlando. So I just traced around the circle, and now I'm cutting it out, and I'm going to add some little cute buttons to make it look like Santa is flying over Orlando, dropping off presents, maybe to Mickey Mouse. Who knows who he's delivering them to. So in order to attach the map, I'm just using my plain Mod Podge, and I'm doing a nice thin coat. I've found that if I use a really thick coat, it sometimes makes map paper bubbly because the map is not very thick. It's kind of a thin paper, so you don't need to overdo it with the Mod Podge, and I just smooth it all down really nice and flat. Now, to get the hole through it, I use a needle and just poke it through the hole that I'd already drilled, and I'm using this thin red string just for the hanger. I'm using a needle threader to help me because unfortunately I could not get my drill to loosen up to change out the drill bit, so it was super tiny, so that's why I had to use a needle threader to get the string through the hole. But anyway, here are the adorable little buttons that I mentioned earlier, and I've already put a string through it to make it look like it is sewn on, but it's not, it is glued. And at first I had them going over Orlando, or you could have it going under the destination, but I realized I was literally going to glue Santa's sleigh right on top of Disney, and I thought that kind of defeats the purpose. So I scooched them down a little bit so you could still see the Disney place on the map. So just hot gluing all of those. Now these buttons usually are out at Christmas time at Hobby Lobby, and there's also usually one in the package that has a red nose like Rudolph, so that is super cute too if you want to use the little Rudolph button. But here is actually the finished product, really fast, really quick, and super adorable. You can do these with maps all around the world, so be on the lookout for different types of maps and atlases. And here are the 3 finished products. Again, don't forget to tell me in the comments which one's your favorite. I really love doing all 3 of these cute reindeer projects. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.